You're listening to the After the Show movie podcast brought to you by ascully.com. And here are your hosts, A Scully and Sid Talk. Hello, Sid Talk. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, or whatever. You should just have a merry, happy every day, if you can. Life doesn't always go that way, but why not just be happy, merry every opportunity?
Would you like to wish all our listeners a merry something?
Whatever. Merry, happy, whatever. Or if today you're miserable for some reason, be miserable.
Merry miserable
It's not
day.
really up to us to say. It's not for me to dictate to you, just because it's a time of year when some of us get that vibe, you know? Like, hey, let's have a good time. Not everybody has that.
Merry 25th of December.
Is it? It's not the 25th of December.
That is when Christmas occurs.
That's
25th of December.
That's true.
Sid Talk does not know, and she's...
No, I'm saying today is not that, so don't have a merry today that, unless today's the day you're listening to it and it's that date.
True.
Have as best a day as you can in this life, and then tomorrow, make it good as well.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Said.
Thank you.
Succinctly said.
See you all next week.
Goodbye.
We've wrapped up now.
Stay classy. All right, so it is Saturday, December the 22nd, and this is After the Show number 562. We're a movie review podcast. We come to you every week from our little studio. Is it our studio?
Kind of. I guess right this minute it is.
Yeah. We have a little studio.
Studio.
We do. And it is, we look at a movie every week. We're looking at a Blu-ray release. We're looking at the movie Peppermint. It's a Christmas movie.
It is not. I mean, there's references to Christmas, but that's not what this movie's about.
No.
Don't mislead the people.
Do you think they put it out at Christmas because Peppermint sounds like a Christmas movie?
Well, I mean, the events happen on about this date in the movie, and it is right before Christmas. So, you know.
So it's a Christmas feel-good movie.
It is not. Spoiler alert, it is not.
It's 2018 movie. It's actually out now on Blu-ray. You can pick it up from our friends at Universal. It's rated R, so if you're a child, you should not be watching. You need to be an adult, and you need to have a fully formed brain.
That's fair.
So, Peppermint, Sid Talk will give you the synopsis of the movie.
It's a revenge movie.
Well done.
Yeah, someone's family / loved ones are horribly murdered, and then someone decides to fuck everybody over. Pardon the language, but that's pretty much what it is, and it's not a new idea.
You know, like Ms. Pac-Man.
This one just happens to be where a woman is scorned, and I'm telling you, a man avenging his woman's death is one thing. I'm not a man. I don't have a woman, so I don't know. I would avenge your death if I could. But a woman and a child, I'm not a mother. But I said, if I was, and you hurt my children, I'd F you up. There would be no doubt.
I'm definitely getting this joke in. Ms. Pac-Man.
So you weren't even listening to me. You're just waiting for me to stop talking.
I was listening until you were over, and then I did the joke.
So boring.
You know Ms. Pac-Man?
I don't know her personally.
This is Ms. Deathwish.
Pac-Man versus Ms. Deathwish.
Everybody else gets it. I won't explain it to you. Anyway, Peppermint, did you see the trailer for this movie?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You don't think I did?
No.
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
I didn't see the trailer for it. So let's say we went in blind on this.
Pretty much.
I'll just give you my overall on this one before we go into detail.
Okay.
It's a very standard revenge movie, I think.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's particularly clever. I think it's full of cliches and...
the twist is it's a mother
and
a wife doing the avenging, and it's full on. It's like I said, you don't flinch away from her doing what she wants to do.
No,
which I think is good.
I mean, it's fun. Is fun the right word for like a movie that's full of violence? I don't know. It is to me.
I know what you're saying, but it's not fun. It is violent, but then you feel like it is called for. They deserve this. So, you know.
So I would say, for this, I've seen many movies like this. It's nothing particularly novel. There's a woman in the central role instead of a man, which it usually is a man. But I don't think that makes it different, really, because it is the same story. You even mentioned it during the movie. We've watched Marvel's The Punisher on Netflix, and this, she could be female Punisher. I mean,
absolutely, that's what I said. I feel like some Punisher actions is just about to go down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a part in a, what do you call it, a carnival?
Yeah, but that wasn't why. I just was like, okay, here's a family. We know it's going to get hardcore because it's framed with... Framing in movies means, if you don't know, I'm not trying to talk down to you, but the beginning is like a certain thing. It could be a flashback or a flash forward or someone telling you the story, or this happens to be a thing happens, and then you go back and you get the origin story, and then you come back to now. And so it's framed that way. So you right off the bat, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
This lady is not a soccer mom.
Yeah, I said to you,
definitely got business to attend to.
What happens in that opening scene with the car? I said to you, I think we've established the tone of this movie from there.
Yeah,
it's not lighthearted in the slightest.
Like, this isn't funny.
So then it just takes on a, well, we just said spoilers, but I mean we've already said it. The family gets murdered, and she goes on a revenge thing. And she's kind of wronged all along the way. The justice system wrongs her. The cops aren't really...
That's the justice system. Everybody is afraid of the cartel guy, and that's the bottom line. Nobody is going to try to get justice for her family, and therefore, she does it for herself.
Right. And that's
Sisters
it. That's the whole of the
are doing it for themselves.
So that's the whole of the movie. It doesn't have like a particular style like Atomic Blonde did this year, another kick-ass woman movie.
It didn't have like a specific...
No.
It looked nice, though. It did look good.
It does, but it doesn't have like something to differentiate it. It's more... This is from the director of Taken. And Taken is pretty much a straightforward revenge movie also.
Yeah.
This follows that kind of template, I think. I mean, it looks a certain way. It's not trying to be artsy or anything. It's just very matter of fact. In fact, some of the cop scenes where cops are talking to each other, it almost, I was on the line, for me, felt like a TV show, like cops just talking in a...
Yeah, it was very straightforward. Yeah. You're right. There was no style really involved.
It's not trying to be particularly cool, even though you could say some of the scenes with her are. But no, they don't make her try and be sexy, or she's not like this assassin.
True.
She's just this fucked up, is she... There's a plot point in the movie which we discussed earlier about, they kind of mentioned that she might be psychotic, or she is.
Because of her head injury, because she also gets shot.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give her an excuse beyond just a mother and a wife getting revenge, where for some reason men don't ever need that excuse.
Right.
Death Wish guy, he didn't need anybody saying, well...
Taken guy didn't need
He's got something wrong with his brain now, therefore. So we don't need a woman to have that either, because if you're pissed enough, I think the old saying says, nothing like a woman scorned, right?
Right.
Hell, something.
But there's a whole convoluted thing that she goes missing for a bunch of times. She kind of trains herself to be super good with weapons and
I think that's plausible.
Fighting.
I know people will be like, "Oh God, right," but I do think if you just disappeared into the world and you found a way, I think that's plausible. It's not practical for a person to do, but I wasn't rolling my eyes at it.
Now, what I really liked about the movie. And it is full of action, to be honest. It doesn't really slow down. It's full of, really gruesome shootouts, I would say.
She doesn't flinch.
No, it's like when you watch John Wick and he's just shooting people in the face. And,
yeah.
It's just shooting people constantly. When she goes to shoot people in this, it's gruesome. Like, it's not CG blood. It's like, it looks like splatter blood everywhere. She shoots people right in the face. She puts knives in them. She sticks a knife in the side of somebody's head at one point.
She doesn't ever hesitate. There's never like,
No, she's got
a moment of, she's never afraid of anybody. Not at all.
She jumps off things. And the other thing about it is, like, she's not a superhero either, like, because she hurts herself a lot. Like, she's often hurt. She falls off a thing. She's like, she gets stabbed in the side. But it's not like, oh, well, she's been stabbed in the side, but she's still going to take 20 guys out. She kind of has to back off at that point and then go and heal herself or whatever she has to do. So it has an element of Rambo there where she stitches herself up,
Where you go like, God, ow, ow, ow. That looks painful.
But the shootouts were my favorite part. Like, the part where she infiltrated, like, the house of the gang leader guy.
Yeah.
With the car, and, like, she had the silenced assault rifle, and she's just real. She looks like she knows what she's doing. I know I'm not a paramilitary guy or anything, but she's kind of sticking in the shadows and taking one or two guys out at a time, and she gets all the way through the house. I thought that was really cool, really well choreographed. And, I said to you at the beginning, I bet there's a car chase in this movie. There actually isn't a car chase. There's a part where she's driving a car. She's not chasing.
True.
She's just driving a car from one place to another. She steals a bunch of cars. I was going to say, is there a sense of humor in this film? But there isn't, right? There's nothing funny.
No.
Nothing. There's
well,
not even
there is one thing funny when she goes to that woman's house, and that's kind of funny.
It is.
It's sad and funny, but then you realize, spoiler alert, it's that woman's whole fault. That bitch.
Oh, yeah, there's a soccer mom type at the beginning. Well, Jennifer Garner is just a regular woman at the beginning. I mean, in her life.
As far as we know. You see, there's no explanation, except that we know the other soccer mom lady didn't like her.
Right.
Like, you can't just do what you want. So then you're like, oh, what's up with this lady?
Yeah, so maybe she was just,
a
rule breaker, or didn't.
Maybe she has
I think she just
special skills that we don't know about yet.
Well, maybe the twist is she is actually Liam Neeson's niece or something.
Special agents everywhere.
So, it's pretty, like I say, standard revenge thriller. It's actually a good, interesting, it breezes by. It's not silly. There's a twist that comes, which I think you saw and I didn't.
Mm-hmm. I did.
But then when it did come, I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Like, it seems obvious when, it's one of those.
It was almost that thing that you always tell me the name of it and I always forget, where the movie's going along and then all of a sudden they throw a thing in there that you go, oh, well, that doesn't have no hint of that whatsoever. And now we're throwing that in at the last minute.
Because we need a twist.
Yeah, what was that? What's that called? You always tell me and I always forgot.
Red herring?
No, red herring is completely different. Red herring is a thing you think is the deal the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's like the MacGuffin.
Well, it's two different things, but yeah.
Like,
so what's this?
The MacGuffin's
This has got like a lady's name.
A lady's name?
Yeah. Anybody you know out there, you'll know what we're talking about.
I'm completely blank on that. I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
But
or like comes in, it's like the twist that you're like, what? That doesn't even fit anything. This does fit, sort of, but you had no clue, except I just got a gut reaction like, oh.
And it does make you think at the end. It did me a little bit. I mean, it's not a thinky movie at all, but I was thinking, am I on her side or not? Like what am I exactly? Like, she's at the end, there's a crossroads for her, I guess. And I'm like, okay, I think it's 40-something people she murders in this. Now, that's the definition. That's like a mass murderer, right?
Mm-hmm.
She does have her motives for killing them all, but she probably went the wrong way about it. Are we on her side? Are we not on her side?
I'm on her side.
You know what I'm saying? No, there is that element. And
this time, I'm on her side.
Yeah, and also there's the policeman. Is he on her side? Isn't Like at the
Because if you
police.
notice, she killed no police officers. They either killed each other or the bad guys killed them. So she
only
didn't.
killed cartel.
I know
people.
she didn't make a statement about that, but I feel like that was a meeting at some point during the writing process. Like, we can't have her killing anybody that's questionably good or law enforcement or anything. Her mission is all of these motherfuckers who are out there caused my family to die, and that's it. She doesn't give any big long speeches about how they might do it to other people, or she has to stop them. None of that. It's simply, you did this, and now I'm going to kill you. And that's it. Like, that's all she was doing. And I feel like I'm with her.
That's true, because when that guy is not being a very good parent to his son on the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
She does go and have a altercation with him, but he doesn't get killed for that. And secondly, the lady, soccer mom lady, she could have easily killed her too, right?
Yeah.
But she's not actually a bad person.
But see, they didn't have it dawn on her that it's that lady's fault.
I did like when she said, I'm going to tie you up and burn your house down. I'm
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
And at that point, I was like, is she going to do that? Because she might.
If she had thrown in a line that said, none of this would have happened if it weren't for you and your bitchy thing to take away my daughter's birthday party, then you would be like, oh, yeah, she's going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because, it wouldn't, would it? I mean...
No, I'm saying that. She was actually the bad guy. The bad guys did the thing that was her fault.
Actually, her husband's to blame for just even entering...
Yeah, but he didn't do anything.
He didn't, but even... Well, he's not to blame. His friend is to blame for even asking him to do... His friend says...
No, he called him.
No, I'm saying his friend comes into the mechanic's place and says, you're not got enough money, do you want to...
Yeah, but he called him.
I know he did. I'm saying though, but the catalyst is his friend coming into the office and saying, "Do you want to do a robbery with us?" And then him phoning him back and saying, "No, I do not want to do a robbery with you." That's the catalyst, not that woman. Because regardless of what happened that night, that cartel, if they knew about those two, they would come and kill them anyway, right?
Right. So we still have to blame the cartel. Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. It's a very simple story. There's nothing really complicated about it, is there? It's very... Everything you see, there's nothing to guess or nothing to... It's pretty well explained. And I was thinking of a movie to compare it to, and I just keep coming back to Taken with Liam Neeson. It's the same template. It's an event happens that is really traumatic to the guy, and then the guy in that one has to rescue his family. It just happens in Taken. It's not quite as hardcore as this one, right? Because his daughter's actually in Taken, spoilers for a movie that's about 10 years old, is actually fine. She's just kidnapped, right? In this one, the family's dead.
I don't know if she's fine, but she's not dead.
Right. But in this one, we're talking about a dead little girl.
Hardcore stuff.
And a dead husband, right? So, which is hardcore. I didn't expect it. The dead little girl, I did not expect.
No.
I thought the husband was going to get killed and the daughter was going to get winged by a bullet or something.
No, I knew from that opening sequence.
Right.
That when she said to the guy, "You don't remember me, do you?" And she's so angry. I'm like, oh, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad with the child.
So that's how I see it. It's a fairly, action movie, revenge thing. You've seen lots of them before, but I think Jennifer Garner brings something to it. Yeah. Including horrible wig.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started on the wig.
Why?
Why put a wig on a woman when all she has to do is just mess up her hair? It doesn't make any sense.
Jennifer Garner has really nice hair, because I could tell by looking in the extras when she was talking.
And in the beginning, she has her own hair, right? Then she's shot in the head and they put on the little shaved wig looking thing.
Which I was fine with.
Yep. And then she just got a wig on the rest of the time. It just makes
Which just
no
looks
sense.
like a grotty wig. They're trying to look like she's just somebody who's she's focused
She doesn't
on
care
her.
anymore. Yeah, she's not doing her hair every day, which is fine.
She lives in a homeless place.
She lives on Skid Row, yeah. And she absolutely not going to care about her hair. Not a problem. I don't even care if she takes a shower every day. But my goodness, that weird... Oh,
you can really tell a wig, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just never
makes no sense.
No, I don't think it makes sense. Is she wearing that wig on the cover of this movie?
Don't know. Let me look.
I feel like she is, but they've done it
kind of, yeah. Looks smoother, though.
Yeah. But yeah, there's Jennifer Garner does her own stunts in this movie. Mostly.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like when she's fighting that there's a stunt woman standing in it all the time. It really doesn't. That was one of the things I was impressed with. So let's move on to the cast. Jennifer Garner plays Riley North. Do you like Jennifer Garner? Are you a fan?
I'm not a huge fan, but this, I didn't mind.
Right, what did you like her? What did we see her in recently? She was actually pretty good. Love, Simon.
Yeah,
she was
the
mother.
mom.
Yeah.
I mean, neutral. She was neutral. She was just a mom.
She was in that Horribly Something Good Day with Steve Carell as well. She was the mom.
Yeah, true.
She
was mom again this time.
She was the
whole
she was
different
in Juno
kind.
as well, right? Juno.
She was the wishful mom. Wanted to be a mother.
Yeah. So, are you not generally a fan, but you thought she was good?
She was fine, and I would watch something else action related, but with a different vibe.
Would you watch Elektra?
Again? No. I'm sorry. Did that come out like what? No, not again. I would not.
I don't know if I would watch it again. I remember
not because of
it.
her. I wouldn't.
I remember watching Elektra. I mean, I love superhero stuff and thinking, wow, what a letdown that one was.
Yeah.
Just felt, because I liked her character in Daredevil, and then when she was in Elektra, I was like, wow, this is just bland. It just felt bland or something.
I agree.
But I liked her in this, apart from that wig. But I think she was pretty... The action parts, and she's not like a... she's small. I kept thinking, like, somebody could just grab her and throw her across the room, right? She's pretty... There's not much to her.
That's why I think some people would roll their eyes about, but I still think it's plausible.
But nobody really gets near enough to her, because she's always got a big assault rifle in her hand.
No, a couple of people grab her, throw her up against, but then she does things like brass knuckles and bangs her head into their head. And no matter what you do, 8 pounds of skull coming at your face.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, that's going to hurt.
John Gallagher Jr., who I always think...
is a Wahlberg.
I either think he's Ike Barinholtz, that guy, or I think he's a Wahlberg. He's neither of those. He's actually a person, an individual person, nothing to do with
He's just
those
a guy.
other franchises.
Franchises of people.
Yeah. He plays Detective Stan Carmichael. What did you think of this guy?
I liked him. I did. I mean, his character's a jerk, but I liked him.
He's like I felt really... when she whacked him in the head with a fire extinguisher? Mm-hmm. I felt really bad for him. I was like, what?
Well, that'll teach you.
I was like, you're the nicest... Like, you've been so nice to... Like, he even told the ambulance people, just give her a break. Like, she's just had a family murdered and...
But when you look back and you think, maybe that's when he just got in, or he got in after that.
Yeah.
Because by the time we see him 5 years later, he's drinking. His boss guy is like, nice of you to show up. So something's gone on between now and then. So he's just basically
he's
been bought off.
He's not quite as good a cop anymore.
Nah.
Yeah. I liked him too. Thought he was good. I still think he's a Wahlberg. I think he's an imposter. John Ortiz plays Detective Moses Beltran.
Always good.
Yeah, he's like the what do you call him? What do you call her? Partner.
Detective.
Yeah, his partner though, who's the voice of reason. It's that character in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, do your job, be a good cop, that guy. But I thought he was good, and he is good. You do see him in a lot of things, but then you never think of him. If you
He's
get what
solid.
I'm saying. Kaylee Fleming plays Carly North. She's the child of Jennifer in this.
Also the child of, not in real life, but fictional child of
Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead.
And the Punisher. That's why she's so tough. Well, she didn't end up being super tough, but she was like, punch her in the face, Mom. And
Yeah.
those are assholes. You know, she was kind of edgy.
She's also been in Star Wars. She is the young version of Rey in The Force Awakens. So, this little girl, you know what? This little girl, you've seen her a few times. Now she's going to be in The Walking Dead. Everybody's going to know who she is, isn't she?
Yeah, they seem to do that to the young people.
She's going to become Millie Bobby Brown.
What?
You know Millie Bobby?
She didn't start as young, though.
Yeah, but she was nobody. She got on the biggest show, and then, poof, everybody knows who she is.
Or Dakota Fanning.
Yeah. But, I like this little girl. I think she's pretty... I like how tough she plays. Mm-hmm. But she plays the Grimes character tough, and, you know. But I wanted to put her down because I really liked her. And then the bad guy in this movie, Juan Pablo Rabba. He plays Diego Garcia, which is the most stereotypical baddie name I can think of.
It totally is. It's like, seriously, people?
It's like Mexican cartel bad guy.
Well, we threw the Koreans in there just so that it's not just Mexican cartel, but we also got the Korean cartel. I don't know.
But he's like stereotypical bad guy, even. Mm-hmm. You know. What did you think of him?
He's all right, but they looped him really horribly many times, which always annoys me.
I thought so too. Was that because...
I don't know why, but it was really annoying.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. You know what? He's a bad guy. It's like a comic book bad guy.
Yeah.
You don't care about him. You know what's going to come to him at some point. And you're waiting for her to go and take him out. That's pretty much all he is.
Correct.
This is directed by Pierre Morel. He's actually... the director of Taken and a movie called District B13. I don't know if you saw this movie. It's a parkour movie.
No.
But it's set in the future. And it's mostly based around like these parkour gangs. And it's really cool. There's some parkour moves that you'll see in that you've never seen before. Like this guy jumping through this tiny little window that is only big enough for a human to go through. And he just shoots right through it. It's crazy. All real stunts. Probably an underrated movie. It had something to do with, and I'm blanking on his name. You know what I'm saying? The
parkour guy?
Fifth Element, the director of The Fifth Element, Luc Besson. Yeah, I think he produced the movie. But I really enjoyed that movie. So this guy, and Taken, I really enjoyed too, to be honest. What do you think of him, this Pierre guy?
The director?
Pierre Morel.
I mean, it was fine, but like you said, there's nothing...
No, there's nothing. It's like, there's also nothing about Taken that is stylistic or stylish. Or
it's just a vibe about what's happening more than a visual style.
So I like what he's making. You know, they're pretty tough movies. They don't pull any punches, and
there's a lot of punches.
Yeah, if she's going to shoot somebody in the face, you're going to see the face get shot at. You know, like it's groups. You know, it's right in there. Like it's not cutting away from stuff. I like that. It's a bit ballsy. Extras, and there are not many. There's a commentary with the director, and there's just this one featurette called Justice. What did you think of it?
Boring. Like there's nothing to it. It's kind of shitty.
Jennifer Garner talking, and she said how unique this movie is.
Which we both disagree with.
I was like, which movie are you talking about? Yeah, Jennifer, this movie is not unique.
It really isn't.
Maybe it's unique to you because you've never been in a movie like this. It's unique to you.
Or someone sells you on the idea that it's unique when it is not actually, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, conclusion on Peppermint. I enjoyed it. You know, it's like middle of the road, enjoyed it.
Definitely.
It's not, it's probably not in, spoilers, it's probably not in my top 10 movies of the year, but I can't say I didn't have fun watching Jennifer Garner kick people's asses and shoot people in the face.
Nice.
Because that's what she did.
Correct.
So, thanks to Universal for the Blu-ray. And next week, we're taking a look at the new movie, The House with a Clock in Its Walls. And it's directed by... Who's it directed by?
Jack Black?
Eli Roth.
Oh, Eli Roth. That's right. Jack Black's in it.
And I think it's a bit of a different direction for Mr. Eli Roth. So we'll take a look at that next week.
Different than cannibalism?
Yeah, The Green Inferno.
We'll see.
So movie recommendations. I am going with the original Death Wish, which I watched as a child on VHS, and I definitely shouldn't have been watching it. I think I watched it when my parents were out.
Your foster parents.
Yeah, and that's how I watched a lot of movies back in the 80s. Like, my foster dad had rented a movie and then left it on top of the VCR. It was for him to watch, obviously, late at night when nobody's around. And then in the daytime, when he was gone, we'd just watch it. So I remember very clearly watching Death Wish and watching Charles Bronson. And the rape scene in that movie is pretty,
Did that scar you for life?
I'd definitely never seen anything so, like Straw Dogs was another one that always stuck in my mind of a revenge movie that's like, oh, that's a lot to see when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Death Wish always struck me, and I always thought, this guy's cool. Something happens to this guy with his family, and then he's just going to get them all. I just thought that was an interesting concept. So I think it's still a pretty good movie, actually. I mean, they went on and made a bunch of sequels that were not so good. But Death Wish, the original, and I'd also recommend...
I don't think it's good.
I think it is in terms of when it was made, and it was a unique kind of thing back then.
Mm.
It was like The Taken of its day. Like something that came along and people went, oh, this is cool. It's...
Yeah, I don't know if I think it was just the extreme nature of it. But I mean, we'd have movies like that already, just not quite done that way, I
did like Charles Bronson in those kind of films too. And my other one I'm going to recommend is Daredevil, but only the director's cut of Daredevil. So if you're going to grab a copy of Daredevil, and I'm talking about the Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck Daredevil, don't watch the theatrical cut. Watch the director's cut. It's a separate release. It's so much better than the theatrical one. It's very dated, I bet, at this time, especially because we've just watched Marvel's Daredevil TV series, which is very up to date, and I bet that feels... It wasn't quite as intense, was it? The actual Daredevil one with Colin Farrell. So I'd recommend that. The director's cut only, though. It is one of the movies, and I've seen a lot of director's cuts of movies, but the director's cut of Daredevil is one of the prime examples of how a movie can be a lot different by the director actually changing the cut. Because it feels like a different movie. There's a lot of scenes added. I think it's about 30 minutes. And it changes how the movie feels. Like, it changes the pace. It changes everything. There's a lot more of Elektra's story. And the story that they deal with Elektra in the director's cut of Daredevil is way better than that crappy Elektra movie. So,
oh, God, yeah.
So I recommend those two. And yours are?
Mine are, because I just wanted to pick something that the two main people, I guess, her and the cop guy, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Ike Barinholtz.
Was what the cop guy was in.
Oh, excuse me. Matt Wahlberg's brother?
Yes. Because that was pretty fun too. Unsettling. And Catch and Release with Miss Jennifer Garner.
And Kevin Smith.
He was in it briefly, yes.
Not briefly, he was in it quite a bit.
I mean, he was just the friend of the fiance, who also died. She has a thing. We don't want... Her characters...
Spoiler!
...have lots of... I was like, how old is that movie?
Probably
pretty old.
12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a great movie, but she does a good job. She's sad and appropriately...
Wasn't that the first movie that Kevin acted in that was not one of his movies? Like,
was that before Die Hard?
Oh, yeah, it was way before Die Hard.
Maybe then.
So, there you go. Scully stuff. I have been playing some more Red Dead Redemption 2. I actually thought, even you thought, that I'd finished it last night, right?
Yep.
And we were like, this has got to be the end. It feels like the end. Things that
They played a song where the lyrics were, "This is the end."
Yeah. Not the Doors.
It's not like rocket science to maybe push those two things together.
Yeah, it felt like the closing of the game. And I have been playing for about 75 hours. So, yeah, you would think it was the end. And it is the end in a way, like a chapter, like the end of the chapter. And then...
No spoilers.
No, and then an epilogue starts And I have learned that the epilogue is about 10 hours long, so we're not at the end. But, you know, when people have been saying recently, oh, the story's really not very good, and like it...
I don't know what people, except for GBD, who's just full of shit.
I've not heard more than him. I've heard different people say, oh, the story's not really up to the, you know, mark of Rockstar. But I think those are really powerful scenes that we saw last night.
Mm.
The music in the right places, the slow motion, the vignette kind of thing with the deer, and that one line where he says thank you, which I told you about.
Yep.
That got me a little bit, that part. I don't want to spoil what was happening, so I won't, but there's a big emotional thing in this game that is not usual for a video game. So I'll tell you, when I get past the 10-hour epilogues, 2 parts, there's 2 epilogues, I will do a full discussion and talk spoilers and everything and give you a warning beforehand. So I should get to that sometime in 2019.
Yeah, it'll be a while, I reckon.
Yeah, because it is a very long game. And if you don't have patience and you don't enjoy the setting, I can understand why you might not like it. But I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, but just to say it's shit because you don't like it, because people don't like it, it makes no sense.
Because it might be just like that thing where, well, you know, I don't watch cowboy... Like, you might be the person who says, I don't watch cowboy movies because I don't enjoy them. And that's fair enough. Just don't watch them, right? And that might be just what this game is. It might not be your thing. Like,
definitely.
But it doesn't mean it's shitty.
Correct.
Because it really isn't. It's like a very...
I mean, saying that you like it doesn't make it good either, but you know what I mean?
I mean, I can see quality, and I play a lot of video games. Mm-hmm. There's a huge amount of quality to this game. You can tell the people who made it love what they were making. Every single camera angle and shot, and, you know, it's all lovingly done. I can tell it is. And Rockstar, you know, they're the kind of developer who don't have, like, release dates. They don't go, we got to get this game out by this date. They just keep making it until they're happy with it, then put it out. It took them 8 years in this case. So I trust them, and I really am enjoying it. And my other game I've been playing, Jeff Minter, one of my favorite game developers, who nobody else probably knows who he is. He was a game developer from back in the day when the Sinclair Spectrum and the Commodore 64 were the big computers in Britain. I don't even think those computers were that popular in the States. But growing up, playing those 2 computers and playing Jeff Minter's games on them, I was always a big fan of his. He has like this style, the very basic graphics, but he has like always has really cool soundtrack, and it's kind of old school arcade gameplay, like something like Centipede or Tempest, which he's done. But this new game he's got is called Polybius, and it's his take on, let me see, like, it's not like Tempest, but you are shooting and you are traveling down a hole, or let's say a tunnel, and you're shooting stuff and you have to drive your little vehicle in between gates, and they're very small, the gates, and you've got to get it in between them to get power-ups, and then you've got to shoot the stuff, and you just keep going faster. Every gate you go through, it makes your speed of your vehicle go faster. And eventually you're going so fast, your eyes are melting almost, like you can't really tell what's happening anymore. But it's to get going very fast and to shoot everything, and to old school style, going down a hole. There's really awesome music playing. He always has awesome music. If you're into bands like The Prodigy and like techno from the 90s, you'll get the music immediately. It's called Polybius. It's out on PlayStation VR, PC, and it's also out on Oculus Rift, I believe. So you can play it in VR or you can play it flat. It's Polybius. I recommend it. It's really fun. So, Sito, what's for dinner?
Tonight will be a concoction.
I don't understand what that is.
A concoction of some kind. Like combination of ingredients that we have. Yes. A potion to ease your hunger. Just a concoction of some kind. I had my holiday with my family over the weekend. And what I don't really want to go out and get more stuff. I could order something.
Oh, we could order pizza.
You're loving that Papa John's pizza. That's a consideration. But there also could be a concoction. Concoction meaning it could be a combination of vegetables, protein of some kind. We're vegetarian, so, we have to find a protein in there somewhere. And that's it.
Sounds all right. So, yeah, concoction. So tell the people your message.
My message?
It's like the Queen's speech.
My message?
Yeah, your advice message.
Oh, it's time for that. Oh, okay. Well, I think we've covered it already. I think it's appropriate to say happy, merry, everything. Like, don't be a dickhead and worry about how people tell you to have a nice time. Seriously. You're going to come. It's like if somebody says have a nice day and somebody turns and go, don't tell me to have a nice day. I'm offended that you want me to have a nice day. Like, why do you care if someone says Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy whatever? It's someone who's taken a split second, even if it's a habit. That's fair enough. People say things just because it's expected, but it's a nice thought. So if you're not a Christian person, which I am not, because I believe in absolutely nothing, and yet if everyone who wants to tell me Merry Christmas, that doesn't bother me at all. I don't need to lecture anyone on religion because they just want me to have a nice time of year with my family and friends. No. Like, I don't get this thing. It makes me crazy. So just have a happy, nice, whatever. Or don't. Just live your life as best you can and without harming people. Now, should we all change that phrase to that? It's not quite as snappy.
No, it isn't at all. It's So here's a little bit of bonus chat for you all before we go. We watched a movie this week. Kind of a controversial movie, I would say. And it's a movie by director Lars von Trier. It's called The House That Jack Built, starring Matt Dillon.
Controversial? No.
Well,
oh, no.
Lars von Trier, he kind of... controversy surrounds him whenever a movie comes out. It's been a while.
He wraps himself in the idea of controversy.
Right.
Don't make it sound like it's somebody else's fault, because it's all him.
So this is Lars von Trier's new movie. It's a 2.5-hour serial killer movie set in the 70s, America, and stars Matt Dillon as our hero, Jack.
He's not a hero. Don't make it sound like you are behind this guy.
And we watched it this week, the uncensored version. And Sid Talk will give you, what did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, you don't know Lars von Trier movies, really, right?
Me?
No. You watched Dancer in the Dark with Bjork.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of know what he is.
I mean, it's very obvious that the person at the helm is very up their own ass. I don't have any delusions about that at all. It's very much a statement type of art. It isn't telling me a story necessarily. It's poking at me on purpose.
Yep.
With intentions of aggravating, getting me to walk out, getting me to have a that is inappropriate kind of thing, which is fine. Art can do that. So don't have the expectation of because one guy, whoever that guy was that you watched who does reviews, I want him just to tell me a good story. Well, it's not how it has to work, I don't think,
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so, but I enjoy the story, even though it's horrible. The concept is a guy who's basically like the guy from American Psycho. He's invisible, but he's right out in the open. He's not even barely trying to hide his psychosis and his deeds. And yet, because society is what it is, not everyone, it's a generalization of the big picture, we will ignore and push away from things that might require us to intervene. She comes out in the street and says, I need help. He comes out in the street and says, I've killed 60 people. And the cop's like, come on, you guys are drunk. Just go inside. We know he's killed 60 people. She's asking for help. It's like the Jeffrey Dahmer real life story.
It is exactly
of the young man
right?
that he had in his house, and they ran out in the street. The cops told him to go back in because Jeffrey Dahmer said it's a lover's quarrel or whatever. And that guy ended up dead. So that's a real, I don't know if he was using that as an example, but it is real that we will pick and choose what causes and things that we find convenient enough or economically viable enough for us to involve ourselves with or ignore. And I think that, he even screams out the window. He says, scream out the window for help. And she does. And nothing happens.
As loud as she possibly can.
Yeah, nothing happens. And so it's a statement thing, which is fair. I have no problem with art making a statement. It's just that in the way it's done is, I'm making a statement. I'm making a statement. I'm making a statement. And so you have to kind of separate yourself. And the style I like, the weirdness I like. Matt Dillon was fantastic. I like that it challenges you on a few different things, about why he thinks he's the way he is, and then having to justify his actions to this guy who may or may not be the guy from Dante's Inferno, right? Or Dante's,
Virgil,
where he's saying to him, calling his bullshit, like, that's not why you're doing what you're doing, and things like that. I like all that.
Yeah, it's framed around the Divine Comedy and Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
It's like a...
Not fully straight up, but I mean, it's got references to...
it's like this conversation between...
and there's no doubt that the person who wrote it and directed it believes that someone like our character deserves to go to hell. Whatever he believes in, some kind of punishment for these deeds, right?
Right.
So that's the overall that's the overall story I get, or vibe. Is like as subjective as it is, like where you might feel like, well, these crimes are an affront to humanity, and all of his little images that he uses to justify his character and all that stuff. I mean, can be very prickly. He's got some Holocaust references and some other serial killer stuff in there, so you're like, oh,
Lars throws in some clips from his own other movies at one point.
But his objective isn't to sell you on the idea that the people who commit atrocities have some kind of reason socially to exist, or that it's justified in any way. Because ultimately, they all suffer. They're all going to have to suffer for their deeds. And so I feel like that part gets messed, or at least from the vibe of the things that you've said, people have said about it.
Did anything really, he's known for shocking people with, really intense scenes? Was there anything in there that shocked you?
Nothing. Sometimes... No, not really. Not off the top of my head.
Off the top of my head. And, nothing really... I can watch most things and not be shocked. I can think, oh God, how did he get away with that?
Yeah.
But in this movie, there is some child deaths that I was like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the imagery of it wasn't shocking. I thought that's what you're asking.
No, not the imagery, more of like
yeah.
Jack doesn't, Jack will kill anything.
He doesn't discriminate.
No.
From what we can tell. Except he does, there's the thing of misogyny and how this guy is killing women, but he addresses that. He says straight up. He won't acknowledge, but the Virgil character acknowledges that his stories are, and mostly, in hatred of women. So, right. I mean, it's addressed.
Because he even says, you only talk about the women you've killed.
Yeah.
What about the men? He said, oh yeah, I've killed lots of men, but...
Women
these are just
easier.
Some random
but
stories.
You can tell he's making a statement that it seems to me, violence against women is even more not overlooked, but because of this guy's mind, they're an easier target, and that's, everything he's saying is a bigger social commentary. So that's what he's saying in general about our society, is that violence against women is more easily overlooked because the men who do it think it's easier to get away with. I mean, it's a loop, I guess, but I just think it's an interesting movie. People who don't like it, don't watch it.
I can imagine, there's going to be people who can't stomach it because it's really, challenging kind of movie. But I think the way it's told in these it's like 5 little segments. It was going to be a TV show originally, I was reading. And it was going to be in 5 parts, and each of the incidents, as it's called in the movie, was going to be an episode of the show. But it turns out to be a movie that's 2.5 hours long, because these episodes they're not rushed. You know, each one is a killing that he does, sometimes more than one person. But I really liked the second incident where he goes to that random lady's house and pretends to be a police officer, and then
where he's just like learning how to do what he's doing.
Yeah, and it's really awkward and it's like intense the entire time. Because Lars von Trier does this thing with like handheld camera work, which I thought you would hate, like it's really wobbly.
Sometimes I did, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it makes it feel even more weird and intense. When he's talking to Uma Thurman, he does a lot of that thing. It's not actually camera work. It's like we've done 50 takes of this and I'm cutting between the takes. So it feels like, you know, when you say you hate it when YouTubers do it.
Yeah.
When they cut and it feels like they cut.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that cutting in this movie, but it makes it feel odd. Like it's like, oh, this is odd.
But we have to remember, he's telling us the story.
Of a disjointed...
So it's his mind.
Right.
So you always have to remember that's the frame of this particular movie, is this guy is telling us about his deeds. So whatever he's remembered it as or however he sees it in his mind, that's what's going on. And
I thought the ending was really spectacular. And I thought the choice of the song Hit the Road Jack after what happens at the end is really cool. Like it was...
I think it was supposed to make you think that, which to me made it seem kind of obnoxious, but...
I really enjoyed the epilogue, as you would call it, after the incidents, where it, you know, where you would say they're in the shit water.
Yes.
But that little journey there, I really liked, because it was unexpected for me. I wasn't thinking in those terms for this movie. It took a really different, weird turn at the end that you can't really see coming, because it is kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
And is this one of the other things? And somebody said, oh, this was like a lot of it was hilarious to them. Like, I didn't really think it was hilarious.
No.
Hardly at all.
What kind of people think this movie's funny?
No.
If they're going to bitch about Lars von Trier or whatever his name is, then they need to do some soul searching.
There's some moments where I was like, this is like verging on like, you know, like you would, like one of those situation comedies where things are kind of spiraling out of control. Like I say, he's got this OCD thing and he's killed this woman and he keeps thinking, oh, that house that I just killed her in, there's probably blood somewhere. I have to go in and clean it. And he kept thinking like, and then he did actually go back and start cleaning things up. And it was like a wrestle like between him and his mind, right? Mm-hmm. He just kept going back and forward. But then what he actually does with the rope and the car.
Yeah, oh my God.
There was like, I wasn't laughing out loud, but it seemed ridiculous. But then I was like, he doesn't care. Like,
correct. He got to that like, oh.
Like he doesn't think he's ever going to be caught. Like he just does things it almost feels random what he's doing. He starts off with a plan, but then, you know, when we see those scenes of him just carrying corpses into his house.
Yeah.
And he lives in like
it's not his house.
Flats. No, when he's going to the flats to take the pictures of them. He takes them into his house.
That's where that lady lived.
Right, in there.
The one lady, yeah.
But that whole place is like a place where people live, and he's walking past the front doors with a body over his...
Again, reinforcing the idea that nobody's really looking, and if someone did, they might just be like, oh, they're just having a fight or whatever, and then crawl back into their own little reality.
But then, you know, like in American Psycho, which I do think is kind of funny in parts, there are some funny moments in that movie.
It's more like funny, uncomfortable.
Yeah, in a dark, funny. There are some of that in this, when he's taking the photos of the corpses in that apartment. And it's just, he went out there like to go and get this body, to bring it back, to take some photos. But then on the way, he sees an old lady who's just walking and he can't not kill her. Because he's like, fuck, there's an old lady. She's on her own. I've got to kill her. It's like fighting with his own self.
I didn't really find that funny.
No, there was just something about some of it that was uncomfortable, awkward, funny.
Yeah.
In a way. Like, you might think, oh, this is...
Not funny.
No, but there was definitely moments where I was smiling, maybe in nervous kind of way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it does go pretty far. You might say, is it for art or is it for shock?
He thinks he's making the art of making his statement.
No, I mean Lars, not...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not Jack.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The guy, the director guy, that's his MO, isn't it?
Yeah. And some people say, oh, well, his movies are not art, they're just shock value kind of movies. But, you know, it's available now. Can't get it on Blu-ray yet, but it is on video on demand if you want to see it. It's not on Netflix or anything like that. You have to go and seek it out. It's on, I think you can pick it up on Vudu, those kind of places. You have to pay I think it's like $10 to rent it. But it is theatrical as well. But if you're interested in I would call it extreme cinema. It's like in that genre where it's like Irreversible or those movies that make you wince, make you think, might make you feel a bit sick. It's in that wheelhouse, right?
Type, yeah.
It's very artistic. You wouldn't recommend it to everybody because there's going to be a lot of people who'd be like, I ain't sitting for 2 hours and 30 minutes watching that.
And also kind of being lectured to a little bit. And
not a little bit. Not a little bit.
True.
There are actual lectures inserted in the thing. It's like, oh, now I'm being spoken to and he's telling me what he thinks. And I don't feel like it's Jack talking to me at the moment. I feel like it's Lars talking to me about his things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
About art and, So, yeah, that's The House That Jack Built. It's by Lars von Trier. I'm sure they'll get a Blu-ray release at some point, and maybe we'll review it in depth or something later. But as for now, I would say I enjoyed it, but then that would make me sound like a weirdo.
Very weird weirdo. I agree.
So I'll say it was a challenging thing, and I'm glad I watched it. That's what I'll say.
Well, fair enough.
So if you want to contact us, you can via ascully.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook. This podcast is on the Google Play, iTunes Music Store, TuneIn. If you've got an Amazon device, just say, listen to After the Show Movie Podcast on TuneIn. It will play you the latest episode. We're also RSS feed. Just go to ascully.com, click on the word podcast. You can just listen to the show straight from the page, or you can subscribe and we support all of the things. I use Plex.
All the stuff.
Now, Plex supports podcasts. It's very easy to listen to it in Plex. And that means it works everywhere on everything. You can also catch us on YouTube. That's the newest place we're on. Email feedback to me at ascully.com. Don't email Sid Talk at all, ever. And stay classy and Merry Christmas.
Stay classy if you are classy. Maybe they're not classy. You ever think of that?
No.
And I'm going to say, think for yourself or someone will do it for you.